You have always believed in kindness. You treat others with sincerity, respect, and generosity, always willing to lend a helping hand, offer a listening ear, or go out of your way to make someone's life a little easier. You don't expect much in return, just mutual appreciation, respect, and the hope that your kindness will foster deeper, more meaningful connections. But despite your good intentions, you've noticed something unsettling. Instead of earning the respect and gratitude you deserve, some people seem to take you for granted. They dismiss your efforts, ignore your needs, or even treat you with indifference or condescension. You give your time, energy, and emotional support, yet instead of feeling valued, you sometimes feel invisible, underappreciated, or even used. You may have asked yourself, why does this happen? Isn't kindness supposed to be a strength? Shouldn't treating people well naturally lead to positive relationships and mutual respect? The truth is, while kindness is a beautiful and admirable quality, it can sometimes have unintended consequences, especially when it isn't paired with strong boundaries and self-respect. This phenomenon isn't just a matter of bad luck or surrounding yourself with the wrong people. It is deeply rooted in human psychology. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung spoke about the shadow self, within each of us, the hidden, unconscious part of our mind that influences our thoughts and behaviors in ways we don't always recognize. One of these hidden tendencies is the inclination to take for granted what is freely given and to undervalue those who do not assert themselves. When you are always available, always saying yes, always putting others before yourself, some people, whether consciously or unconsciously, begin to see your kindness as an expectation rather than a gift. They may assume that because you are always willing to help, you don't mind being overlooked. And over time, this dynamic can lead to an unfortunate reality. The more you give without limits, the less you are respected. But does this mean you have to stop being kind? Absolutely not. Kindness is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but like any strength, it must be used wisely. The key is balance, learning how to be generous without being taken advantage of, how to care for others while still demanding respect, and how to stand firm in your worth without losing your compassionate nature. Today, you will uncover 5 psychological reasons why kindness can sometimes lead to a loss of respect and, more importantly, how you can protect yourself while remaining true to who you are. Reason 1. When kindness has no boundaries, it loses its value. People naturally test boundaries. If you always say yes, always offer help without hesitation, and continuously prioritize others over yourself, some people will start to see your kindness as a given, something they are entitled to, rather than something to appreciate. In some cases, they may even perceive it as a sign of weakness. Imagine a bottomless cup. Anyone can pour into it, take from it, and never worry about it running dry. When a resource appears limitless, people gradually stop valuing it. The same applies to kindness without boundaries. When you are always available, always accommodating, and always self-sacrificing, you unintentionally allow others to take you for granted. In psychology, this phenomenon is closely related to the benevolence exploitation effect. When you constantly give without establishing limits, people stop seeing your generosity as an act of kindness and start expecting it as a default. They may push further, seeing how much you can tolerate before you finally say enough, and if you don't push back, they will keep taking more. However, the solution is not to stop being kind. True strength does not come from withholding kindness, but from knowing how to set firm boundaries while remaining compassionate. Carl Jung once said, "No one can achieve wholeness without understanding the darkness within themselves." This means that kindness is most valuable when it is accompanied by self-awareness and a strong sense of personal limits. When you learn to say no when necessary, your kindness becomes more respected, and you develop a deeper sense of inner strength, the kind that comes from standing up for yourself. Remember, water is soft and adaptable, yet when confined under pressure, it can carve through stone. Kindness works the same way. It needs structure and boundaries to be truly appreciated, and to prevent you from losing yourself in the process of helping others. Reason 2. Your kindness can make others feel insecure. Not everyone can accept kindness easily. While some people appreciate sincerity, others react in the opposite way. They become suspicious, distant, or even dismissive. But the reason isn't about you. Your kindness unconsciously acts as a mirror reflecting parts of themselves they may not want to confront. Imagine offering someone a thoughtful gift, only for them to hesitate, questioning your motives. Instead of accepting it with gratitude, they wonder, "Why are you doing this? Do you expect something in return? Are you trying to manipulate me with kindness?" For people who have been hurt, betrayed, or taken advantage of in the past, unconditional kindness can feel unnatural, even threatening. In psychology, this reaction is linked to emotional projection, a defense mechanism where people project their own fears, insecurities, or negative experiences onto others. When you treat someone with sincerity and generosity, you unknowingly force them to reflect on themselves. If they are not used to genuine kindness, or worse, if they know deep down that they do not treat others the same way, this can create discomfort. Instead of accepting your kindness, they reject it, or belittle you as a way to protect themselves from their own self-awareness. For example, someone who has deceived or manipulated others may struggle to believe that you don't have a hidden agenda. A person who always prioritizes their own interests may find it difficult to understand why someone would give without expecting anything in return. In both cases, the problem is not that you are too kind, it's that your kindness exposes something about them that they are not ready to face. The important thing to remember is, their reaction does not define you, it reflects them. If someone distances themselves or treats you with contempt simply because you are kind, it speaks more about their struggles than about your worth. You don't need to change who you are or hold back just because some people don't know how to receive kindness. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When you encounter people who react negatively to your kindness, understand that they are battling their own internal conflicts. You don't have to prove anything to them, just continue being yourself with a kind heart and a strong spirit." Reason 3. Kindness challenges social norms and triggers resistance. We live in a world that often glorifies toughness, ambition, and competition. In this kind of environment, kindness and generosity can sometimes be seen as an anomaly, something that doesn't quite fit. Society teaches people to be strategic, to look out for themselves, and to approach life as a power game where every action must have an ulterior motive. So when someone like you comes along, someone who acts with genuine kindness, without a hidden agenda, it can create confusion, discomfort, and even resistance. Imagine walking into a corporate office where everyone is laser-focused on climbing the ladder, making deals, and protecting their own interests. Now, imagine that instead of playing the game, you offer help without expecting anything in return. You listen without judgment, and you genuinely care about people's well-being. To some, this might be refreshing, but to others, it can be unsettling because it disrupts the way they understand the world. Many people have spent their entire lives believing that success requires ruthlessness, that kindness is a weakness, and that everyone is ultimately driven by self-interest. When they meet someone who contradicts these beliefs, they are faced with two choices: Reconsider their worldview, which requires deep self-reflection and change. Reject the person who challenges their beliefs, which is the easier option. Unfortunately, most people choose the second path. They may dismiss your kindness as navet, mock you for being too soft, or distance themselves because you make them question their own values. It's not that they dislike you personally, it's that your way of being threatens the stability of their mindset. In psychology, this reaction is closely related to cognitive dissonance, the discomfort people feel when confronted with information that contradicts their deeply held beliefs. Instead of adjusting their beliefs, they often try to eliminate the source of discomfort. That's why some people resist kindness, not because it's bad, but because it forces them to confront the possibility that they've been approaching life in a way that is neither necessary nor fulfilling. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists but grows in size. When you choose to be authentic in a world that rewards pretense, you become a disruption of force that challenges old ways of thinking. And while some may resist or reject you, others will be drawn to your sincerity, finding in you a rare and valuable presence in a world that too often prioritizes power over connection." So, if you ever feel like your kindness sets you apart, remember, it's not a flaw. It's proof that you're living by a different set of values, one that not everyone is ready to embrace, but one that makes the world a better place nonetheless. Reason 4. Unlimited kindness becomes an invitation for self-sacrifice. People who constantly give without asking for anything in return often find themselves placed in roles they never signed up for: the listener, the helper, the shoulder to lean on. Over time, this can create an unspoken expectation that you will always be available, always willing, and always ready to put others first. At first, it may feel rewarding to be seen as dependable and compassionate, but as time passes, you might start to notice a shift. People begin to assume your help rather than appreciate it. They stop asking if you have time to talk, they just start talking. They don't check if you're okay, they only come to you when they need something. When you always say yes, people unconsciously start to believe that you have no personal needs, no limits, no struggles of your own. Your kindness, instead of being seen as an act of generosity, becomes an unspoken responsibility. The consequences? Your kindness is taken for granted. Instead of seeing your help as a gift, people start treating it as something they're entitled to. Your own needs are ignored. You may find yourself giving endlessly while receiving little to no support in return. You feel emotionally drained over time. You begin to wonder, why does no one check in on me the way I check in on them? The problem isn't that kindness is bad, it's that kindness without boundaries leads to imbalance. The solution? Learn to say no without guilt. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot truly support others if you don't first take care of yourself. Carl Jung once said, "If someone wants to see the good in you, they will. If they want to see the bad, they will." It depends more on them than on you. In other words, people will see you through their own lens. If someone values you only when you're useful to them, that says more about them than about you. Reason 5. When you are always available, your kindness loses its value. Imagine a rare gemstone, something precious, hard to find, and highly sought after. Now imagine a stone that is scattered everywhere, lying on every street corner, available to anyone at any time. Which one do you think people will treasure more? The same principle applies to kindness. When something is always available, people stop valuing it. If you are always the one offering help, always the one making sacrifices, always the one going the extra mile, people will consciously or unconsciously start to believe that this is just who you are. They won't see it as something special. They won't think twice before asking for more. At first, this dynamic might feel fulfilling. You enjoy making a difference in people's lives. But over time, you may start to feel something unexpected: resentment. You might catch yourself wondering, why does no one appreciate what I do? Why do I feel exhausted instead of fulfilled? Why do people only come to me when they need something? This is what happens when kindness is given without limits. It loses its impact, and worse, it can lead to emotional exhaustion. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of balance, stating that a harmonious life requires the coexistence of both light and shadow. If you give too much without setting boundaries, your kindness can lead to burnout, resentment, and even self-doubt. The solution? Be intentional about where you invest your kindness. Choose who deserves your energy. Not everyone is entitled to your help. Give to those who appreciate, respect, and reciprocate. Set clear boundaries. Your kindness should be a conscious choice, not an automatic response. Remember, kindness has value when it is respected. When people understand that your kindness is not infinite, they will learn to appreciate it more. In the end, kindness is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but only when it is given wisely. Protect your energy, and your kindness will not only be more valued, but it will also bring you more fulfillment. And what about you? Have you ever felt like your kindness was being taken for granted? Have you ever found yourself giving endlessly, only to realize that the people you helped didn't truly appreciate your efforts? Perhaps you've stayed up late listening to a friend's problems, only for them to disappear when you needed someone to talk to. Maybe you've gone out of your way to support a colleague, only to find that they never acknowledge your efforts. Or perhaps you've always been the one to check in on loved ones, only to realize that no one checks in on you the same way. It's a painful realization. Your kindness does not always guarantee kindness in return. At some point, you may have asked yourself, am I too nice? Why do people take advantage of me? Should I stop being kind altogether? But here's the truth. The problem is not your kindness. The problem is the lack of boundaries. Being kind doesn't mean you have to be endlessly available. It doesn't mean sacrificing your own needs for the sake of others. It doesn't mean allowing yourself to be drained, used, or overlooked. True kindness isn't about self-sacrifice, it's about balance. So, have you found a way to set boundaries without losing yourself? Have you learned to say no without guilt? To give without feeling depleted? To protect your energy while still being a generous person? The world needs kindness now more than ever, but it needs kindness that is valued, not exploited. It needs people who can give with an open heart while still respecting their own limits. It needs people who understand that true kindness isn't about being endlessly selfless. It's about knowing when to give and when to step back. So ask yourself, what will you do differently today?
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.